Welcome to the deep dive. You might be hearing some buzz. And yeah, this time I do mean it literally about the brood 4th periodical cicadas. They're expected in 2025.
That's right. And if you're listening from Alexander County, North Carolina, you're probably wondering, what does this actually mean for my backyard?
Exactly. So we've dug into the research, sifted through the science, really, to pull out the key info for Alexander County folks. We're looking at gardens, pets, even copperheads.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, but we'll focus on what's most relevant.
Let's dive in. First off, what are these periodical cicadas? They're not the ones we hear every summer, right?
Correct. Brood 14th specifically has this incredible 17-year cycle. They've been nymphs, just living underground, feeding on tree roots for almost 2 decades.
17 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then, like clockwork, when the soil temperature hits about 64 degrees Fahrenheit in the spring,
Okay.
they all emerge. Huge numbers. And their adult life is short, maybe 2 to 4 weeks for an individual. The whole event lasts maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
It's noisy, I hear.
Oh, definitely. The males do the singing to attract mates. It can get really loud, sometimes over 100 decibels. Think like a big insect party.
The very loud party.
And this brood of Angfair, it's actually the only 17-year brood emerging anywhere in the U.S. in 2025. It's a pretty big deal, and these cycles are incredibly predictable. We've got records going back centuries.
So when are we talking for North Carolina? Late April, May?
Generally, yeah. Late April or May is the window. Some sources pinpoint May more for the western part of the state.
And where in Western NC is Alexander County right in the thick of it?
Well, that's the key point. The maps and forecasts show the heaviest emergence is expected further west. Think Buncombe County, Burke, Catawba, Henderson. Asheville is often mentioned as being, potentially bursting with them.
Right.
It makes sense because the females lay eggs back into the trees in the same general area they emerged from, so the populations stay pretty localized over time.
Okay, so drilling down then, Alexander County specifically, what's the verdict? Big cicada show or not so much?
Based on everything we've seen, the experts, the maps, significant brood 14th emergence in Alexander County itself seems pretty unlikely for 2025.
Unlikely.
Okay, yeah, places like NC State Extension Forestry, news reports like WFMY News 2, they list affected counties, and Alexander isn't typically on those lists for brood 14. Historical maps don't really show them close by either.
So it's important not to confuse these with the regular summer cicadas.
Exactly, that's crucial. What you'll almost certainly see and hear in Alexander County next summer are the annual cicadas, the dog day cicadas. They're very different.
How so? Remind us of the quick differences.
Okay, so, timing. Brood 14th is spring, annuals are summer, looks. Broods of 14 are mostly black with reddish eyes. Annuals are usually greener or brownish, darker eyes. Sound. Brood 14th is that massive chorus. Annuals make more of a steady droning buzz. And numbers. Brood 14th is millions, potentially billions. Annuals, much fewer.
Got it. So summer buzz in Alexander County, probably just the usual suspect.
That's the most likely scenario, yes.
Okay, let's talk gardens then. Even if brood of 14th isn't a big issue, should people worry about cicadas messing with their trees? Maybe those annual ones.
Well, adult cicadas don't really eat plants in a damaging way. The issue is egg laying, or oviposition. The females cut slits into smaller branches, usually pencil thick or a bit thicker, to lay their eggs.
And that damages the branch.
It can, yeah. It can cause the tips of the branches to die and turn brown, which is called flagging. Young trees and shrubs are the most vulnerable because more of their branches are that preferred size.
Okay.
Deciduous trees, leafy trees, are usually the main targets. But given the low expectation for brood 14th in Alexander County, the risk from them is minimal.
And for the annual ones, if someone has a very young prized tree...
If you're really concerned about annual cicadas on a specific young tree, you could consider netting, like a mesh netting with holes smaller than a 1/4 inch, wrapped around the canopy during the summer emergence. But general insecticide spraying by homeowners. Usually not recommended or necessary for cicadas.
Good to know. What about pets? Dogs, cats? Are cicadas dangerous for them?
The cicadas themselves aren't toxic or poisonous, so no worries there.
Okay, phew.
But a couple of things. If a dog or cat eats a lot of them, that crunchy exoskeleton, the chitin, can sometimes cause some digestive upset, maybe vomiting or constipation.
Right, too much of a crunchy snack.
Exactly. There's also a small choking risk, just because of their size and shape. And very rarely, an allergic reaction could happen. Oh, and maybe avoid letting pets eat any that look weird, like they have a chalky white abdomen that's a fungus.
Zombie cicadas, I think I read about those.
That's the one. Best avoid it. And Indirectly, if cicadas were sprayed with pesticides, pets could be exposed that way. But for Alexander County, mostly dealing with annual cicadas in normal numbers, just supervising pets outside is probably fine. Maybe practice that leave it command if your dog likes chasing bugs.
Makes sense. Okay, final question that might be on some minds. Snakes, specifically copperheads. Does a cicada boom mean more copperheads?
That's an interesting ecological link. In areas where you do have a massive cicada emergence, like predicted for those western counties,
Yeah.
predators, like copperheads, can definitely take advantage of the sudden, easy food source. So you might see increased snake activity or sightings in those specific cicada hotspots.
But for Alexander County, since the brood molecular emergence is unlikely to be major?
Correct. A significant increase in copperhead activity specifically because of brood of four teeth is also unlikely there. You'll still have copperheads. They're native to the area, of course.
Right.
So the usual precautions always apply in North Carolina summers. Watch where you step, especially in brushy areas or at night. Maybe use a flashlight, keep the yard tidy. Just be aware.
Okay, so wrapping this up for our listeners in Alexander County, the main takeaway seems pretty clear.
Yeah. Don't expect a massive brood force cicada invasion in your area in 2025. You most likely just have your regular summer with the familiar annual dog day cicadas.
A bit anticlimactic for Alexander County, maybe, but probably reassuring for some.
Probably, yeah.
But it is fascinating, isn't it? Thinking about these huge natural events, these cycles, even if they aren't happening right in your own backyard this time, it kind of reminds you to maybe pay a little closer attention to the regular rhythms of nature around you.
Absolutely. Even without a giant brood emerging, there's always something interesting happening in the ecosystem. Keep your eyes and ears open this summer.